Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Hey everyone, welcome to Horror Talk Live, episode 15. It's been a long time since we've been on a live stream. It's been since August, Troy. Can you believe it? Tonight, as I announced on Instagram, if you follow us on the Instagrams or Twitter or in the Discord or Facebook, you can follow us over Out of the Darkness Productions on any of those platforms if you so choose to do so. And yeah, way too long, Brandon. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Brandon.
Bluetooth disconnected.
I want to thank him
Bluetooth
for
connected.
tonight. I know he has some other things going on. And tonight we're going to talk about an old school movie from 1974, and that one is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Troy and I just wrapped up watching the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Troy has never seen the film, so it was a first-time watch for him, and he will give you his
Bluetooth
thoughts
disconnected.
as we go through this.
Bluetooth connected.
Troy's been requesting this one for quite some time, have you not?
Yes, I have.
He's been bugging me for a long time to check this one out. So we finally got around to it. I asked him, what do you want to our comeback stream to be? And he picked the film tonight. So you can thank Troy for wanting to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And if you hear some sounds, we made some upgrades to the live stream. We have a new board, so Troy downloaded a few sounds I've already played. Hey, Rich, how's it going? So yeah, we made a couple upgrades, new microphone, hopefully sound good out there.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Let us know in the chat. I greatly appreciate
Bluetooth
that.
connected.
Yeah, got a soundboard now, so we can we have a little bit of an echo. Where are we getting an echo from? Hold on, Rich. Hey, how's it sound now, Rich? We got a brand new microphone, still trying to sort out any issues. This is our first live stream since we've gotten it, so I hope we sound pretty good out there. I hope you're all doing well. Let me know in the chat what you've been up to, what movies you saw recently. Brandon, I know you just watched Death Hunt with Lee Marvin and Charles Bronson, and some other folks that we know quite well, because I know you're going on a little bit of a journey right now with Carl Weathers, and I appreciate that. I love when Brandon goes on a journey down a movie rabbit hole. And some of the films that me and Troy saw in the theaters since we last joined you, just the last couple months. Back in January, we got to see the Wolfman, the brand new Wolfman. Actually, I had the 4K pre-order. It comes out in a couple weeks. I enjoyed it. I know it's been a little divisive amongst horror fans because it definitely goes against the grain of what is thought to be the Wolfman. I'm a big fan of the original Wolfman. I like the Benicio del Toro remake, but I actually kind of dug the new take on it. I'm not saying it's the greatest werewolf movie ever made. I would never claim that because I don't think it is, but I thought it was a solid attempt to do something a little different. I know people were a little conflicted with the look of the Wolfman, and they treat it more of a disease instead of a curse in this movie. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed it, and I know, Troy, you gave it a pretty good score as well. You enjoyed it as well. I'm getting text messages, too, so don't mind me if I look down at my phone. Rich is screenshotting me from his TV in his living room. The other one we just got to see just last week, and it was one I was very excited about, and that was The Monkey. Osgood Perkins' brand new film coming off of Long Legs last summer. And I got to tell you, I know I have my review up on YouTube, and I put a Letterboxd review out. I really liked The Monkey. It cooks. It's just a fun, balls-out, gory, good time. And there's some surprises in there, just the way the deaths come off. I've never read the short story by Stephen King, and I know from what I've read, from what I do know about it, that Osgood Perkins pretty much put more comedic elements into it. But it's like Final Destination wrapped around this toy monkey, not to give anything away, and it just goes for it. Like, it's just like a punk rock, break all the rules, F you, we're going to do some crazy ass shit type movie, and I enjoyed it. Troy, what did you think about the monkey?
It's pretty good. Really good, actually.
Some surprising kills, for sure.
Very gory.
Very gory, yes. They do not pull any punches on that film, and it takes some big swings, and if you're open to it, I think you're going to have a blast with the monkey. It was a hell of a lot of fun, and definitely be one I will purchase on physical media once it's released. I think they already have a date set for May 20th or somewhere around there. The 4K is slated to be released on. So it'll be coming at you soon on physical media. But yeah, Brandon, if you get a chance to see it in the theaters, I recommend it. We went with our good buddy Dale _ from the Bat and Spider podcast. By the way, go over and subscribe to those guys over at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And all three of us enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it the most, but Troy enjoyed it a lot as well. And I know Dale gave it a pretty good review on his Letterboxd. And if you're not subscribed to Dale's Letterboxd, go over there to Letterboxd and subscribe to Dale's Letterboxd channel. And make sure you go over to Bat and Spider and send those guys some love. Those guys are awesome. I know Dale's up in AC right now for a get-together for a wedding that you have coming up. But I know he's with us in spirit, along with the rest of us that are here. Troy wants one of those monkey things now. He wants one of the monkeys from the movie. Mm-hmm. He told me after the movie was over, he goes, if I woke up and saw that in my bedroom or up in the attic, I would throw it right out the window. And when you see the movie, you'll understand why. Because the monkey is creepy as hell. It's a creepy toy, and it's something. You got to see it to believe it. But yeah, I highly recommend the monkey if you get a chance to check it out. I know coming up in March, the dog. Oh yeah, we have a special guest tonight. I didn't even introduce this guy, but we have Leatherface right here, visiting with us tonight in celebration of this historic event. We're back from a long winter's nap, and yeah, Leatherface decided to join us tonight, although in a much smaller version, but he is with us, and he served us up some barbecue. He beat us over the head with a mini sledge earlier, but you know, we're all the better for it, and we're maybe a little smarter, because God help us, we could use a little bit more brain power. But yeah, he's hanging out with us. He's going to be with us for the remainder of the stream. And yeah, actually, Troy got this for Christmas, and I said we got to use it in the stream. So that's why Leatherface is joining us tonight. Oh, he smells like beef, Brandon. He smells like beef.
He actually does.
Absolutely. Yes. Roast beef, I don't know. Some kind of smoked pork, possibly. But yeah, he definitely smells like he just came from the old meat packing plant, if you know what I'm saying.
His hair does, actually.
Yeah. We'll set him off. He does make noise.
If I can find the thing. Come on.
See, he is animated. The lights up. He's a pretty cool thing. I know... Oh, yeah. And this is going to be a good segue leading into the talk about the movie, for sure. Mm-hmm. Like I said, this is Troy's first time watching it. We watched it on, I have the Steelbook right there behind me, Blu-ray. Brandon, you have the 4K, right? I do believe we had this conversation before. You do have the 4K. I haven't upgraded yet. I wouldn't mind. I heard the 4K is pretty damn good. I think I heard it from you, actually. But I've had it Steelbook for a little bit, and it was time for Troy to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is a little weird that your Alexa came on.
It did with ours, too.
Oh, ours came on as well, Rich. Ours is in the corner taking a fit on us right now. You have the second sight 4K. Okay. Is it worth the upgrade, Brandon? I think you told me it was, and I'm sure Second Sight does a great job. The Hitcher 4K is amazing, and so is their Dawn of the Dead 4K. I'll probably end up upgraded. Troy was like, "You don't have this on 4K," and I'm like, "No, but okay. Well, I guess I know what I'm purchasing." I haven't watched this in a few years, but I've seen this many, many times. As a matter of fact, Rich, you and I have watched this many times over the years when we were younger. So this is a movie I've watched since, God, I was young. So, Troy, we've been going through horror. Obviously, Troy's still in his beginning phases of his journey, although he's definitely getting his feet wet considering some of the stuff we've watched. He wants to watch the Terrified franchise, but I told him, you got to walk before you can run, you know what I'm saying? He wants to do Terrifier for next month, but that's not the movie we're going to do. But I said, you know what? It's time for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, let's get into it. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as the ones that are here know, especially Rich and Brandon, was written and directed by Tobe Hooper along with Kim Henkel. Born and raised Texans, because this whole film was filmed in Texas. Well, it's all right, Brandon. You've caught up way a lot caught up since then. So you're good. Yeah, Troy's behind where I was at his age, but that's okay. Like I said, you got to walk before you can run. But anyway, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out October 11th of 1974. It's rated R, although Hooper was hoping to get a PG-13 rating, which watching this, I don't know how he thought might have pulled that one off, but whatever. It's an hour and 23 minutes long. Troy's like, that movie's like 5 minutes long. I'm like, yes, it's a very quick movie. It does not dick around. It gets to the meat of the story, literally, and it gets you out. There's no wasted time in this movie, really, whatsoever. It had a budget of $140,000 total when they were all finished with post-production. And upon release that year, it made a little over $30 million. And at the time, when it was released, it was the highest grossing independent movie of all time, only to be dethroned in 1978 by a little film called John Carpenter's Halloween, is what dethroned the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I remember I have a book about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, and they think Hooper, before he passed, this book was written way before he passed away, him and Hinkle, because the release was so messed up, they kind of got screwed by the distributor. In the 80s, New Line Cinema got the rights to release it. In the late 70s, early 80s, New Line Cinema happened to get the rights to actually show it theatrically. But at the time, Branston Entertainment, I think that's what it was called, was the small distribution arm that released the film. And I know they said they think worldwide it made over $100 million, but they can't prove it because Branston was involved with like mafia ties and a lot of the money was kind of siphoned off. And they never saw any of the profits that they agreed to when they signed on. So there was a lot of like creative accounting, as they would call it, back then. So Hooper and Hinkle never got paid as much as they probably should have for the success of this film. But, we're here about to talk about the movie, not how the guys got screwed. I feel bad for them, but, Hooper made out okay. I mean, he was one of the few out of this whole project that went on to bigger and better things later on. Yeah, the Mafia, Rich, God bless him. Hazelton would be a lot nicer if the Mafia was still around, ain't Rich? So anyway, in this film, cast-wise, we got a bunch of local actors from Texas, a bunch of unknowns at that time. I mean, a matter of fact, most of these folks might have went on to do a few horror movies, but they never got as big. Hooper was the one that really got springboarded off of this because obviously he went on to direct Poltergeist, although some people think Spielberg directed half that movie. But anyway, Marilyn Burns plays Sally. Paul A. Partain plays Franklin, her brother, who's in a wheelchair. We got Ed Nell as the hitchhiker, who's a complete psychopath, and he plays it beautifully. Jim Saito plays the old man, the cook, which we'll get there. And Gunnar Hansen, the late great Gunnar Hansen, plays Leatherface, our iconic slasher that has gone on for many, many years and got played by a lot of different people because Gunnar only ever played it in this one movie. He never came back for the sequel or any of the sequels. But right in the beginning of the film, we get that great voiceover work by John Larroquette. And, he's such a distinct voice. And he got paid in marijuana to do it because of such a low-budget production that they paid him in marijuana. That's how he got paid to do this film. And then we see the skeleton propped up at the cemetery, which we find out later on was the work of the hitchhiker. And we're introduced to our youths that are out just for a Saturday drive around in good old Texas in the summertime. And on their way back, they're going to check out Sally and Franklin's grandfather's house. And they're running out of gas. Yeah, they're opening the graveyard. So the son over the skeleton I love the opening of this film. It definitely sets the tone, Brandon, for the rest of the film. It's just gritty and grimy looking and disgusting, and it's a perfect setup for the rest of the movie that's going to be unfolding in front of us. And they go off to visit the grandfather's house, and it's a rundown house in the middle of nowhere, and some of their friends go down by the riverbed to they think the river's there. It's not, it's dried up. And they happen upon this farmhouse that looks a little funky. And the first thing Troy said to me goes, why are they going into somebody's house they do not know? And my only answer to that is, and it's something you got to take into account, it's the 70s. It was a different time. And these kids are more like hippy dippy kids, so they're like, free love and, nothing's going to hurt us. And I said to Troy, I said, you never walk on somebody's property you're not invited to, and you certainly do never walk into somebody's house that you weren't invited into, because bad shit's going to happen. And, especially in Texas. I mean, even back then, most people own guns in Texas. You don't just walk into somebody's house, but these kids do. And the guy walks in first, and we get that iconic Leatherface pops out, smashes his head with the mini sledge, hits him again, throws him in the back, and then slams that metal door shut. And that's when a matter of fact, the first time I saw this, it was shocking. It was like, holy shit, what the hell just happened? And from there on out, I mean, the movie is pretty relentless after that. Once he kills that first victim and slams that door home, and then the girl goes in looking for him, and she gets killed. Yeah, the body shaking on the ground starts twitching. It's like, it really sets in like, holy shit, things just got real. And it's just wonderfully shot. I mean, this was all shot in 16 millimeters, so it has that film grain, that gritty look that they captured so beautifully. And it just makes it seem so real. And that's what's so shocking about this film. I mean, because it's not overly gory. I mean, that was always the misconception about this film. Even back then, I mean, it was on the video nasties list overseas, was banned in certain countries. But even in the 70s, this was not a very gory movie compared to some of the contemporary movies coming out. And certainly it wasn't gorier than some of the movies that were going to come out after it, like Friday the 13th and so on. Oh, is it? Yeah, and the Blu-ray is still there, but I was wondering how the 4K. I was hoping they didn't scrub it. And I wouldn't think Second Sight would do that. Second Sight usually sticks pretty close to what the film was supposed to look like. Yeah, exactly, Rich. The door closing signals the shit just hit the fan and things are about to get nuts, and they do get nuts after that. We have his girlfriend come in. She gets put on the meat hook. Then he starts up the chainsaw, and it's more a suggestion. You don't see the chainsaw make contact, but it looks nuts because she's withering on the hook in the background, and the chainsaw. Oh, no problem, Kurt. Welcome. Glad you're here to join us tonight. We're just going through the plot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was Troy's first watch of the film, Kurt, so we're just diving into this bad boy from 74. And that's a great shot. He's going to work with the chainsaw, but you don't see it making contact. I mean, you see a little bit of blood spray, but there's nothing. It's no gore effects really going on. And the girl's like withering on the hook. It's a great moment to just let you know that this is serious. These kids fucked up, pardon my French, and now they're all going to pay because they made the stupid mistake of trespassing and then going into somebody's house without talking to anybody. And it's a life lesson, folks. It's a life lesson. You could be somebody's dinner, too, if you make stupid freaking decisions like this. So anyway, the next guy, Sally's boyfriend, goes off to look for them, and obviously he meets his end. He finds the girl in the freezer, and then Leatherface comes up and smashes his head in with a sledgehammer. And now it's Sally and Franklin. It gets dark, and they go looking for him, and that's when we get that shot of Leatherface appearing in the flashlight, which is a great shot, and starts bisecting Franklin. But again, it seems visceral and nuts, but you don't see anything except for some blood splatter over Leatherface's mask and his apron. That's all you see. You don't see anything else. And then from then on out, the movie goes from horror movie to straight insanity with Sally trying to get away from Leatherface. Happens upon the gas station where we meet the cook, and we're sitting there watching it, and I said to Troy, I'm like, pay attention to the smoker. And he's looking at it, and I'm like, guess what they're serving up? And he goes, that's not human, is it? I'm like, yeah. He goes, ugh. I'm like, he goes, so they're cannibals. I'm like, yes, they're cannibals. He goes, so that means the kids are cannibals because they ate the food. I'm like, technically yes, but they didn't know they were eating human meat. So they got conned into cannibalism. Cannibalism adjacent, I guess you would call it. It tastes like chicken in the end, Rich. That's right. It tastes like chicken in the end. And it probably tastes pretty good because you didn't know what you were eating. But that's right. Fire up on your trigger. You get the applewood chips out, Kurt. Smoke the shit out of that. Smoke that liver. And then we have that famous dinner scene where they tie Sally up and they're all sitting around. And what I love about this scene is she's losing her shit, obviously. Yeah, Mom, I knew you forgot. That's why I messaged you. Say hi, Nanny.
Hi.
What did I tell you what Nanny did the other day? I'll have to tell you about that. My mom's in the house, so I just wanted to make sure I said hi to her. What I find like about that dinner scene is Sally's losing her shit as one would in that situation, right? I mean, it's absolutely insane what's going on in front of her, and the hitchhiker, and even the rest of them, but the hitchhiker especially, is just making fun of her. Just making fun of her. It's like they've seen this before. She's begging for her life, and he's just making a dick out of her. He's just placating her. It's like, it's nothing we haven't seen before. You can't beg your way out of this. We don't care. You're basically going to be tomorrow night's dinner. Like, he is just going to town on her. He does not care. I mean, obviously, they're all batshit crazy. And I know they have said, and even over the years, that Leatherface had the mentality of a small child. Like, he had a mental deficiency. And Gunnar Hansen does a nice job playing that up. I mean, even Troy said, why is he acting like that? I'm like, because he basically has a mentality of a little kid. Like, he definitely has a disability of some kind. And that's why he's acting that way. And even Gunnar Hansen said later on, that's what Toby Hooper's direction was to him. He's like a small child. And he has like a mental deficiency. And he does play it up really, really well. And he's obviously being controlled by the cook and the hitchhiker. Leatherface is not in control. He's the muscle, but he's definitely not in control. He's just the enforcer of the family. And he certainly is that. And then we get that final chase scene where Sally breaks free when Grandpa's trying to smash her head in, which is messed up in its own right. And the hitchhiker gets taken out by the Mack truck, which looks great. Even now, it still looks cool. And Troy looked at me and goes, I think he's dead. I'm like, yeah, he's not getting up from that. And then we get that final shot of Leatherface dancing in the road, whipping the chainsaw around. And then it just goes to black. And Troy looked at me and goes, that's it? I'm like, that's the movie. He goes, Jesus, that was short. I'm like, yeah, it's only an hour and 23 minutes, man. It's a banger. It just gets you in, gets you out, shows you some fucked up shit, and that's it. And that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, there's a lot of screaming in this movie. But I think, and the close-ups on her eyes are always unsettling to me. Like, it's right up there, and you can see the little veins in her eyes. It's very unsettling, even to this day. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. But, Hooper really did something cool with this movie. It was his second film. He had made a movie called Eggshells before this. After this, he would go on to make a film called Eaten Alive, which I will review sometime this year. Yeah, I know. The truck driver just kind of gets out and starts running around with her instead of just taking off in the truck. But it is kind of strange that he didn't. But I love when he clocks him with the wrench and he falls down and the chainsaw lands on his thigh. And how they did that was the screaming was actually real by the actor. They had a steel plate strapped to his thigh, and it was a real chainsaw. And they strapped a slab of meat to the top of the plate and a blood bag. So when a chainsaw would hit it, his leg wouldn't get hurt by the chainsaw, but it got stupid truck drivers. I would never say that, Kurt. I know a few. Some are in this chat right now. And so when the chainsaw would hit the plate, it would get really hot. And they were filming this on a hot summer Texas day. It was like 100 degrees. And that's what he was screaming from, because the freaking plate was getting so hot it was burning his thigh. So you hear him screaming, Leatherface screaming. That was actually a real scream because of the chainsaw hitting the plate, and it was freaking burning hot. So that is a little bit of realism thrown in there, although it's it was caused. The discomfort was caused by something else entirely, other than it wasn't the chainsaw wasn't cutting his thigh, but it was burning his thigh from the metal plate. So I'm going to throw it over to Troy. This is his first time seeing it. What are your thoughts on the tech? Now that you finally have seen the movie, it's been hyped up. You've been asking me to watch it for a while. Now that you've seen the full movie, what are your thoughts on it?
They killed everyone off too quick and only left one person.
I understand that, but overall, though, what did you think?
It was pretty good.
What did you think about all the bones and the skulls all around the house?
It's pretty cool, but also who keeps that in the house?
Did you meet this family? You saw the movie. I mean, they weren't shy about.
Mm-hmm.
I did mention to Troy that all those skulls in the house were real. That the human stuff was borrowed from a doctor, and the pet stuff they just got from a slaughterhouse. So all that stuff was real by the set designer. He would just go and collect stuff and then scatter it about, and they made that furniture with real bones. So a lot of that was just stuff they found locally, and they used it in the film. What did you think when you first saw Leatherface? Because you've never seen him in the movie except for pictures and obviously this guy. But what are your thoughts when you first saw him when he popped up?
He looked a little bit different than what I thought he was gonna look like.
Well, where did you see him before?
In the game.
Oh, okay. You saw pictures from the game.
Yes.
Did any of you out there ever play the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game? I heard it's really good. I'm not much of a gamer, but Troy's been asking to play it. Yes, Brandon, definitely. You look around that house, and it looks like you can get a staph infection or any kind of disease just by touching the wall or the floor. Like, she was laying in those feathers, and it's like, well, she's probably going to die from something else other than the chainsaw if she does make it out of there. But yes, the house does look like it give you something that'll kill you. Well, they used real skeletons in the pool sequence in Poltergeist. That was one of the famous movies where they actually used real cadavers, like real skeletons, in the movie Poltergeist. So I know that movie used real skeletons too. And that was like, a more bigger movie. Yep, Poltergeist was the one. You need all your shots, Rich, for that house. You need to get them all your vaccinations, everything. You gotta go in there with a goddamn hazmat suit just so you don't get Ebola or whatever the hell you're gonna get there. But did you think, now since it's your first movie and people always assume this movie's super gory and super graphic, what do you think? Do you think it was graphic?
No.
No.
The game's more graphic.
The game's more graphic. Well, the remake's more graphic too.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, did it make you want to continue the Chainsaw series?
Yes.
You want to watch the rest of them?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to share something here, Brandon. This is going to be a little bit of a hot take. Because I know there's a lot of fans of Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. But let me tell you something. I'm not a big fan of that movie. I like part 3, but I'm not a big fan of part 2. Now, Troy can make up his own mind, but I'm just sharing that with you. And I know it's a hot take because I know a lot of people like part 2. But besides the gore by the great Tom Savini, I am not a huge fan of that movie. Even Bill Moseley's character, and I like Bill Moseley in most things, his character makes me want to do things that are unspeakable I can't say on YouTube. His character just grates on my nerves. I know it's the point, but goddamn. But I will watch it with Troy and let him make up his own mind. The remake I thought was really good. I like part 3. Part 4 is out of its goddamn mind. Well, yeah, I know the radio DJ. I follow her on Twitter. She's a cool lady. She does a lot of conventions with Bill Moseley. They're always taking pictures together at conventions and stuff. Oh, we just found out, by the way, not that none of these are going to be here for this, but the Carolina Fear Fest, which is Memorial Day weekend down here, they just announced today, which I think is pretty cool, Nancy Loomis is coming. She was Tommy Lee Wallace's wife. She was in Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, The Fog, John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. I thought that was pretty cool that she's going to be here. And I might meet her. I wouldn't mind talking to her. She was in a lot of my favorite horror films. So, Yeah, that was a cool get. It's Memorial Day weekend, Brandon. We're only going one day this year, though, because Dale's not going to be here for it. We usually go all weekend, me and Dale, but Dale's not going to be here. He's going to be at a wedding, so me and Troy are going to go Sunday for the day and hang out. They got a couple cool people there. But yeah, they just announced her today, and I thought that was pretty cool. Bill Moseley's going to be there, too. Malcolm McDowell's going to be there. He was just announced, too, a couple weeks ago. And there's a couple other cool people, too. The girl she was in Melrose Place, Rich. She was in A Child's Play 2. I think she was in Melrose Place. Hold on, let me look it up. My phone's right here, and I'm just spouting off stupid shit, and I can just look it up. The kid from Child's Play and the girl from Child's Play 2 is going to be there, too. Alex Vincent is the kid. I know that. Christine Elise? Was she in Melrose Place? No, she was in 90210. She's going to be there. They were announced as well. That was pretty cool. So anyway, back to Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, she was on 90210, Rich, but she was in Child's Play 2. She played Andy's adopted sister when she went to stay with Jenny Otter, and Chucky found him anyway, so it didn't matter. Troy hasn't seen those movies yet. That's another franchise we got to dive into, but we haven't made our way past Friday the 13th Part 2 yet. I keep giving him a hard time about that.
You know what? Thought we watched the second one.
We watched Part 2, but we haven't made it past 2. We haven't got it to when he got the freaking hockey mask. We got to get on that, man. Slackers, man. Troy made mention about how Leatherface changes masks throughout the film. There's 3 different masks that were used for this one. And I said, yeah, he has different ones. And Troy didn't realize they were human skin at first until I mentioned it. I told him in some of the other sequels in the remake, they actually show him sewing a mask. In Part 3, right at the beginning of the film, they show him sewing a face mask right at the beginning of the movie. And if you never saw Part 3, it's definitely worth a watch. Ken Foray's in that movie, too. Just seek out the unrated cut. Their R-rated cut's bullshit. They cut out some gore. The unrated cut's definitely the way to go if you can find it. I think it's streaming on Tubi, unrated cut, but you have to check that out. I think it's on there. Oh, by the way, just as an aside, I know some of you know this. I made my way through all 8 Howling movies. And if you want to take that journey, you can watch them all on Tubi. Oh, yes, you can. But some of the sequels will make you question your faith in humanity. I'm just going to say that. Because I don't know how some of those got made. But I made them through all 8 of them. You can check out those reviews over on my YouTube channel, and I ranked them all. And, oh yeah, Jessica Biel, yes. Kurt, yes. And the remake, yes. Yeah, well, I told Troy we'll have to watch the remake, definitely. But we're going to make a journey through the franchise. I have them all on disc one way or another. I have 2 on DVD. I have 3 on DVD. I don't have 4, but 4's on Tubi. I have the remake. I have the prequel to the remake, which I think is pretty good, actually, for a prequel. And I have Texas Chainsaw 3D. I don't have the newer ones, but they're all streaming. So if he wants to take that journey, we can certainly do that. And, by the way, I don't know if any of you know this, or if you're up on this, but we have a new Final Destination movie coming out in May. So I will be deep diving on the whole franchise leading up to the release of the new Final Destination movie that comes out in the middle of May. So just wanted to bring that up. I will be doing a deep dive on the whole franchise, all 5 movies leading up to the brand new film that comes out in the middle of May. I can't remember the exact date, but it comes out in the middle of May. And you can see the trailer on YouTube if you want to check that out. Now, I'm going to let Troy give you his rating of this movie out of 10. I'm going to give you my rating, and then we're going to get into some trivia and a few other things before we close this out on this Friday night, this beautiful Friday night. Troy, what would you rate the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, now that you finally have seen the movie and you see what all the hubbub's about? What would you give the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10. That is a pretty damn good score. For me, I grew up on this film, as Rich can attest. We watched this many times together as kids. I would give the original, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a 9.5 out of 10. This is pretty much as close as you could get almost to a perfect horror movie. Although there's other movies I think that are perfect. The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, I think is a perfect horror movie. I give that a 10 out of 10. This is damn close. 9.5 out of 10 for me for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Brandon gave it a 10 out of 10. Kurt, what would you give this bad boy? Rich, give me what you would give it out of 10. Troy gave it a healthy 8.5, and that's pretty good. It's higher than I thought he was going to give it going into it. I was a little worried because it's made all the way back in the 70s, and it's not as gory as some of the films he's already watched. I was just hoping the intensity and the way it was shot was enough to put it over, because you got to remember, he's 13, it's 2025. He's seen some stuff that's pretty gory already, especially that one movie your mom found out I let you watch, and she was not too happy. The In the Violent Nature. When she found out it was unrated, she was like, "What are you doing into watching that one?" I'm like, well, it's too late now. So yeah, Kurt and Rich. Brandon gave it 10 out of 10. I gave it 9.5 out of 10. Troy gave it an 8.5 out of 10. What would you guys give it? Put it in the chat, man.
I don't understand why people let their kids watch movies and then not let them watch it again. It's kind of just like.
What do you mean?
Like I know people who have watched rated R movies, but then their parents find out and they're not allowed to watch it anymore.
Well, maybe their parents didn't know they watched it the first time. Like your friend watching Thanksgiving and his dad didn't know until he checked his Netflix history and he's asking me, "Is there anything bad in Thanksgiving?" Different parents, you should count yourself lucky. Different parents let different kids watch different things. You were lucky. I know you want to. Yeah, I got to see a lot of these, Brandon. We had HBO on and off, but I got to see them mostly on network TV for the first time. And I started watching horror. I saw Halloween 1 and 2 when I was 6. Scared the shit out of me, didn't sleep for a week, and that kind of started my journey. But I don't know if Rich, you probably remember this. We had WPIX 11 out of New York, and during October they would play a horror movie every night at 8 o'clock. And that's how I got to see the first Friday the 13th for the first time, Halloween 3, Creep Show, Silver Bullet, Phantasm 2. I got to see all these horror movies because they were on this channel we got from New York. I mean, yeah, they cut out the violence, but you got the gist of it. It was enough to, give you what you wanted. And then I used to sleep over at my buddy's house, and he had HBO, and we'd stay up watching Tales from the Crypt, and then we'd watch horror movies. Like anything that was on, we'd just watch it. And his mom would let us rent anything, so we'd go down to the video store, Broad Street Video, and we'd just rent whatever what we thought would be the grossest shit we could find. Justin Tewksbury, Rich, you remember Justin. And that's what we would do on a Friday night. And, it was awesome. But, it got pretty soon, me and Rich were hanging out a lot. We'd run Up All Night, USA Network. That's how I saw The Howling 2 for the first time, was Run Up All Night. And Howling 3. They used to play those movies. Project Metal Beast was another movie they played on Up All Night. I remember seeing that on that movie. I haven't seen that movie in forever. But yeah, that's how I got to see a lot of these. I didn't get to see the unrated version until we started going to the video store. And nobody carded you in our town at the video store. We were young, and we'd walk out of R-rated movies left and right all the time, and they never carded us. Nobody cared. Plus, we knew the one girl. We were friends with her brother that worked at Eileen Tamagini, who worked at Broad Street Video, and she'd let us rent whatever we wanted. She never cared. She'd actually hold them for us if we'd call her. She was working. She'd like, "Oh yeah, I'll hold that for you." She was awesome like that. So that's how I got to see a lot of these for the first time. And my parents were pretty, sorry Mom, but you let me go watch a lot of stuff. Some of it you didn't know I watched, like Faces of Death 3, and the first Faces of Death, and oh, did you, Kurt? And well, no, I didn't watch Cannibal Holocaust till later. I was an adult when I saw that. Remember that, Rich? You almost threw up all over my parents' carpet when they did the thing, the castration scene.
I don't want to see that movie.
No, you don't want to see Cannibal Holocaust. He's been asking me, I want to see that. I'm like, Rich, please tell him you do not want to see Cannibal Holocaust. It's not a fun movie at all. And it's No comment. Don't sell me down the river, Rich. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust is not a fun movie, dude. There's no fun to be had. It's a straight up effed up movie with some crazy ass gore that looks real. That's the director who got called.
You haven't seen it besides on VHS, so you don't know that.
I'm sure it's no better on Blu-ray. See, Rich, do not watch it. I love you. Don't do it. Trust me. The VHS made it look even more real. That's the one where the director got hauled into court. See, even Brandon said, not worth it, Troy. I told him I don't even have it anymore. I don't even know what happened to that VHS, Rich. Somebody borrowed it. I never got it back, which is fine. I don't plan on rewatching it. I'm like, I saw it once. I vividly remember all the parts of it that I wish I couldn't remember. I'm good. And I love horror films, but that's a movie I don't feel like I ever have to watch again. Well, the animal cruelty and then the other stuff, like with the women and the guy with, yeah, there's just some sick-ass shit. They thought it was real, Kurt. They actually hauled the director into court. They thought he actually killed those people. Because it does look pretty damn real, considering it was a low-budget production, and it was in the early 80s, or late 70s. I can't remember what year that came out. They hauled him into court. They thought he killed those people for real. And he had to bring the actors in to prove that he didn't kill them. But he did get a lot of shit from animal rights groups for killing, because he really did kill animals on screen, which is pretty horrific shit. And when you watch, it came out in 1980. Okay, so I was right. Early 80s, 1980. And when you watch the movie, you could tell it's real. There was no way to fake that back then. And it's like, what's the point of this? And I told Troy, I'm like, trust me, you don't need to see that movie. I don't even own it. I'll never buy it. You don't need to see it. There's no street cred to say you saw it. Trust me. Rich wishes he could unsee it. He almost threw up ice cream all over your nanny's carpet that day. Yeah, that's not a movie I could recommend to anybody. It's just not a pleasant watch. It makes Texas Chainsaw look like a Disney movie.
Doesn't make.
I don't think it's hyperbole either.
Doesn't make Thanksgiving look like that.
Oh yeah, it makes Thanksgiving look like a PG-13 movie. Trust me, there's nothing to be gained by watching that film. So anyway, god damn, you got me talking about Cannibal Holocaust. Sure, we'll just do that next month. Cannibal Holocaust. I don't even own it. I don't even know if it's streaming any. It might be on Tubi. I don't know. Hopefully it's not. I don't think it is. I just checked Tubi. It's not on there. All right. All right. Now back to Texas Chainsaw. Let's get back to something more happy and fuzzy feeling. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can't. I think you would all agree if you saw Cannibal Holocaust that Texas Chainsaw is more warm and fuzzy than that movie. Now Tobe Hooper claimed he got the idea for this film at Christmas time. He was in a store. It was really crowded, and he was trying to figure in his head. He was trying to fantasize how to quickly get out of the store, and he happened to look over, and there was this display of chainsaws there, and having some dark thoughts, he thought, well, I could use that to get out of here, just chop up a bunch of people and get the frick out of here. That and Ed Gein was his main inspirations for this film. Ed Gein was in Wisconsin. He killed some women. He wore this is all true. He wore their skin around and kept their body parts for real. This is the true story. So there is no real Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but there was inspiration from something that was real. So whenever you see, like, based on true events, that's the true part. The Ed Gein part from Wisconsin was the true part, the inspiration for this film. Well, Rich, that's right up your alley, because I know how much you love Christmas. Marilyn Burns, who played Sally in the film, Gunnar Hansen was offered the film once before, and he turned it down. And Marilyn Burns was friends with him, and she actually convinced him to take the role of Leatherface. He didn't want to do it, but he ended up taking it. She talked him into it, and he became famous for it. Like I said before, Tobe Hooper intended to make this PG, rated PG. I don't know how he thought he was going to get a PG. Maybe ignorance. Maybe he didn't know. I don't know. But there was no way this movie was ever going to get a PG rating. Although, there are some movies from the 70s that were rated PG that are pretty graphic. I mean, Sorcerer by William Friedkin's PG, if you look at the rating on it. And that movie's pretty damn violent. But there was no way. I don't know what he was thinking, especially with horror, because MPA was always hard on horror, especially 70s and especially in the 80s after Friday the 13th come out. They hammered down on a lot of horror films. But yeah, he intended to get a PG rating, and it obviously did not happen.
You think they make a PG-13 movie of Cannibal Holocaust?
I don't think it's possible.
They just cut out the whole movie.
You might as well, it'll be like 30 seconds long.
Let me see what else I got here, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about next month. Now, this movie was
Bluetooth
originally
disconnected.
scheduled to shoot for 2 weeks. It took them 4 weeks, so they went 2 weeks
Bluetooth connected.
over. And they said it was a hard shoot because it was really hot, middle of the summer. The house scene, the dinner scene, it was 100 degrees outside. There was no ventilation in that house, and there was real meat on the table. They said it stunk so freaking bad that crew members were throwing up in the corner of the house. It was really a miserable shoot that day when they were shooting the dinner scene. I got an echo again? Echo, echo, echo. How about now, Rich? How are we sounding? All right. This was the 12th highest grossing film of 1974. We still got an echo, Troy. Did you? Okay. This was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry as an important film work. So that's where they put what they deem the most important films. I'm on mute now. Can you hear me, Rich? Fixed? Okay.
You wanted to switch over to the other microphone, which has the echo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Troy's my technical advisor. He knows what he's doing. He's the one that figured out this new board for me. Now, Troy enjoyed this. I never saw Green Inferno, Kurt. I wanted to see it. I know Eli Roth directed it. I never saw Green Inferno. I just saw your I was looking back through the feed here. Now, Troy picked this month, so I'm picking March. We are going to do a film in March. I will release the date soon. We'll probably do it the Friday before we go to Myrtle Beach. We're heading to Myrtle Beach in March because he's on track out after next week for 3 weeks, and we're going to
2
see.
weeks.
No, you got this next week, and then you're off for 3 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
You got 2 more weeks, or that 1 week?
It's 2 weeks of track out.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, we're getting to we'll do it that Friday before we go to Myrtle. We're going to Myrtle Beach, and we're actually going to see a concert while we're down at the House of Blues. We're seeing Seven Dust and Static X, so we're excited about that. And our hotel's right in the beach, so that should be a cool time. But yeah, I got to check that out. I never saw it, but I'm not big on cannibal movies. But yeah, I could suck it up and watch it. I watched all the Howling movies. I could make it through that. Next month, I was thinking long and hard about what to watch, and I'm gonna pick a fun one, a real fun one that I think everybody's gonna have a good time with. We are going to watch next month, and we're gonna talk about on the next Horror Talk Live. Yeah, so I saw Static X down there too. Me and Rich did. Troy's excited to see Static X and Seven Dust, and then we're going to see Disturbed in April. And Everclear is playing down here on May 10th at the baseball stadium, 10 minutes from here. We're going to go see that too. But anyway, next month for March, what we're going to do is we're going to switch it up. We're going from a grimy 70s film, and we're going to do a fun one. And that one is Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. Yes. Troy's never seen it. I think he's really going to dig it.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's the sights you'll see. Yeah, so in March, we're going to deep dive on Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night, starring the great Billy Zane and William Sadler. And John Larroquette's in that movie, too, in a cameo, so we'll get to talk about him again, as we did with this film. Yes, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night is a fun one. I think Troy's really going to enjoy that, but we'll see. A movie with a great soundtrack. Yes, sir, Rich, you and I both owned that soundtrack back in the day. Some great special effects, practical special effects. Great cast, great story, just a fun-ass time. And, yeah, so in March, we will have some fun with that. Tales from the Crypt was always a good time. I love the series, and I I dig Demon Knight. It's a lot of fun. So a live watch, I'd have to figure out how to do that. I'd have to do it through my Discord. You can't do it on YouTube because you'll get copyright struck in a heartbeat. I'll check into that, Kurt. I can't promise anything. Let me look into that. Dale, I'd have to talk to Dale. Dale does live watches on his what is it called?
Podcast.
Shit, no, not podcast.
Spotify, Apple Music.
Boy, I'm blanking, man. My brain is not. Well, I've been up since 3 a.m, so my brain's not properly functioning. Discord. I might be able to pull that off. I'll let you know. Zoom meeting. Yeah, we'll watch Demon Knight together. I'll try to figure it out. I'll see if we could get something together for that Friday. We'd have to start. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see if we could do it. If not, we'll just do a Horror Talk live. Rich was kind of watching Texas Chainsaw tonight. Well, as long as we were watching, he was watching on Tubi as we were watching on Blu-ray here. Because Troy likes to watch the movies right before we go live, so that's why we were watching it. I mean, I've seen the movie many times, but Troy, for his first time, he wanted to know, he likes watching them right before we go live. So yeah, in March we'll reconvene. We're gonna try to do this once a month and stay on it because we took a long break there. It got hectic towards the end of the year, and it just got away from us. I told Troy we got to get back on it, and Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight is our March pick, and I think we'll all have a lot of fun with that. And then Troy will pick April, and we'll just keep going like that. But for tonight, that is it. I hope you all have a great weekend. I know down here it's supposed to be beautiful tomorrow. I think up there in PA, I think it's supposed to be a little warmer tomorrow. Brandon, I don't know how it's supposed to be in Iowa. I know out in Iowa it's been a little bit warmer lately. So I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Enjoy the weather if it's a nice day tomorrow. We will come back at you in March and check back my channel. I'll have some reviews coming out this week. I got some action reviews, Bloodsport. I got a couple other ones. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us and hanging out. And we'll see you next time. Troy, sign off for me. Say
Bye.
bye. Have fun with that, Kurt. Wash that Durango, buddy. I think that went pretty good.
Mm-hmm.